Hi everyone, I'm Cassandra from Craft to Believe After and welcome to another video. Now I've got a few interesting projects to share with you. It's been another fun week. I'm really enjoying crocheting, but I've always loved crocheting, but so far this year I'm just really enjoying trying different patterns, trying different yarns. It has been fantastic. So let me start off by what you would have seen in my YouTube thumbnail, which is a project that I made from this book, Yarn Cake Amigurumi, and it is by the designer Jackie Dono. She does have an Instagram account, and I don't know if she's got a website as well, but she goes by Dear Jackie Stitchery. So I've made some of her free patterns previously. I got this book last year. I was really excited to try some of the patterns. I mentioned to you guys that I really wanted to do this pattern, Weatherly, the unicorn. There we go, very cute. And then before I got to making the pattern, a lovely yarn friend of mine, Kathleen, she reached out to me. She said, listen, she received a bunch of yarn from a lady who can't use it anymore. Included in this was quite a few yarn cakes, the same type of cakes used in this pattern, the Lion Brand Mandala Ombres. She will not be able to use all of them. If I'm interested, she would love to send me a few of the cakes. So of course, I felt so grateful that she reached out to me. I said, yes, I would love to try it. It's not a yarn that I can get over here in Denmark, where I live. So earlier in January, Kathleen's Happy Mail reached me, and I just want to show you quickly before I get into the pattern and the item I made, just show you which of these lovely cakes Kathleen had sent to me. So it's this beautiful color. Just look at that. It is the nicest, softest yarn ever. It's Lion Brand Mandala Ombre. It's the number 4 weight yarn, 100% acrylic, and this color is Chi. So this nice purple color, beautiful. Then this color, which was my favorite and which I also used for the unicorn color, what's it called? Tranquil. Oh, I love these colors. I love how they worked up as well, but I will talk about that now. Then there was also this one, which I did another project with, which is why this one is a bit floppier, and it is color Zen. Very nice, these blues and greens. And then this color, which is called Mantra. So the previous one more towards the greens, this one a little more towards the blues. So I've been very blessed to get these yarns. I couldn't wait to work them up. Kathleen knew I had this book because I showed it last year. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity to try this book, the patterns in this book, and let you know my thoughts on it. And you guys, okay, let me show you the project first, and then I will explain to you my thoughts about this book. So I made the little unicorn, and she is cute. So as I mentioned, I made her. This is actually the skein or the cake that I did use. Quite a bit left, but I do think she turned out very cute. There's the little tail. Now I will talk about the mane and the little tail, why it's all this green instead of a very nice multicolored. So I'm calling her either fern or something in that line, because it looks like she does have a plant on her head. I think I will call her Fern, the unicorn. Very cute. I did like working up the pattern. It's not difficult at all. Not difficult to do. I think this one was rated as skill level 2, which I would really almost put it as a skill level 1. It wasn't a difficult pattern at all. My problem with these patterns is that I sort of had in my head that you have a yarn cake, You start at one end and you just go wherever the cake takes you, which if I had looked at the photos a little more carefully. Now let me show you this unicorn again. Now I should have seen that the hooves and the little, you know, the hooves on the legs and the arms, and then the legs here, you know, but I'm not very familiar with yarn cakes, so it didn't dawn on me that you would have to do a certain amount of color controlling. So you do have to control your colors. And this was the annoying part of the pattern for me, because you, for instance, you can start wherever you want, the inside, the outside of the cake. Then you start with this bottom, you know, for instance, this muzzle part. And then it tells you to leave the last stitch unworked, cut your yarn, and then continue with the hooves. Then you do just the bottom parts of the hooves. You leave the last stitch unworked or halfway worked, because later on you will attach a different color to it. So all of these parts, so then you've got these 4 small parts that you leave unworked, and you've got this muzzle part, whatever you call it. What's it called? The muzzle. And then you attach a different color yarn as you progress later on. So then once you do the body, then you go to the top of the head, then you go back to the arms, and then to get the various colors of yarn for the mane, they actually want you to work 2 strands or 2 curlicue strands, then cut that specific color off. Then continue with the following color change. Do 2 strands, then pull all of that color out, and then attach the next color. So you would have all these small little balls of yarn that you had to cut in order to get to the next color change, so that your mane looks like this. Whoopsies. So you see here, so the mane is actually very cute if it's done in all these different colors. So I think on this photo you can see she's got all different colors of yarn there. But they want you to basically separate your colors, cut them, have them in little balls, so that you are able to have different colors. And I was just, at that point, refusing to do it. I was already a bit annoyed by the fact that you have all these little small pieces, because what I like to do the leg, complete the leg, do the second leg, complete it, do the entire body, do the entire head at once. So to do the color controlling was a bit frustrating for me, but working with this yarn, I love it, you guys. It is fantastic. And what I actually want to do is to take the remainder, because this is the yarn that I've now got left after making the unicorn, which is quite a bit, do one of the other patterns and just work it without cutting the yarn or trying to color control, and just see how it works up. Now obviously color controlling does give you a cute effect. Like I say, I refused to cut all of that yarn at various sections just so that I can have teeny tiny different colored strands. So my unicorn, this is why she looks like she's growing a plant out of her head, because my last color had just turned to blue or something. Well, I started from the opposite end of the cake. I think all of this I worked from pulling from the inside, and then for the mane, just to have a different color, I pulled from the outside so I could get 2 strands of the blue. Then it changed color by itself to the green, so the rest of the hair or the mane and the tail is green. But I was just not willing to do all of that cutting and have all of these little balls, because you guys, I'm terrible with yarn scrap balls. I do not use them. I throw them away eventually because they annoy me so much. So to waste all of this lovely yarn just so that I can have different colored mane, no, I wasn't going to do it. So that was the biggest frustration for me with this pattern. The pattern is written really well. I could understand it very easily. It is in UK terms, which was strange to me, because I was certain this designer actually lives in the US. So it was a bit weird for me to do UK terms, which is not difficult. I mean, once you do the first few rows, you're into it and you know what they say. So the conversion in your head is not that bad. But I was actually surprised that it's not a US crochet terms. I was very surprised by that. Apart from that, really the thing that annoys me is the color controlling. That you have to cut certain sections to get to the next color to have a specific look on your toy. But that is really the only gripe I've got with this book. So I'm going to try, as I say, using the remaining yarn and just work one of the patterns as the colors follow on each other without having to cut and restart and leave a loop and do this and do that. No, I don't want it. I want to work just start and end, and that's it. So in terms of the patterns, I do think it's cute. Now I really want to make this dragon because I think he's really cute. I mean, look at him. Dragons are not my usual type of amigurumi, but I do like the look of this one. So I might try him just using the yarn as it flows. But apart from that, lovely book. I will still recommend it. Just take note, one, that it's in UK crochet terms. The second thing, that you do a lot of color controlling, which, like I say, I don't work with cake yarn, so it never even crossed my mind that this is how the pattern would have been structured. But that being as it is, I still really like how Fern, the unicorn, looks very, very cute. I do like it. So that's my first project. The second thing, you guys, with this yarn, I did use a 3mm crochet hook. I think this is what the pattern called for. So this is what the pattern called for. I used exactly what they asked. Okay, they actually say a 2.75, which I don't have. We don't have those weird quarter numbers, like we don't have a 2.25 or 2.75 here in Denmark, didn't have in South Africa either. So I used a 3. A 2.5 is just a little small of a hook for me for a number 4 weight, a worsted weight yarn. 3mm worked beautifully. Alright, so that is it on this yarn. Like, this yarn is fantastic, you guys. Let me show you the next project I did with this yarn. And as I mentioned, I used this lovely grey. Now my friend Litsa over at Coco's Crochet, she has this Cal crochet along that she's hosting for the next 6 months, where every 2 weeks she draws an item from a little basket. The first week that we did, or the first thing that she drew, was a cup cozy. Yesterday she had the draw for the second project in the Cal, which was a ear warmer or a headband. And you can go over to Litsa's video where she explains exactly the purpose behind the Cal. I think it's more for people wanting to build up stock either for markets or for gifts. I just do one of each of the items that Litsa draws every 2 weeks, because I like doing something different every now and again. My main thing is toys, but I like the idea of trying something different. So I was very excited when I saw yesterday she did the draw. It was for an ear warmer. Immediately I knew I wanted to continue using a different color of this yarn. And I made this braided. Now you can't see it on the green. Maybe you can see it a bit here. There you can see it a bit better. I made this braided ear warmer, which is such a quick pattern to do. Very easy. It's just, I will link the pattern. It's a free pattern on someone's blog. I found it via Pinterest. So you just make this long thing with this braided look. It's the same type of technique I did for my beanie, the braided beanie in the beginning of the year. So when I saw this pattern, I thought, oh, I know how to do the braiding. And this whipped up really quickly. It's just double crochets in the back loop, and you create this braid, and then you tie it at the back. So your last loop where you don't braid it, you just hook that onto a button. Now, I didn't have a big enough button, but a while back, like 2 years back, I made fairly large buttons. I needed it for a different project, and I like using my polymer clay. So I had one button that was sort of hanging around on my crochet card, not the correct color for this project at all, but it was the perfect size. So I think I'll make a few more large crochet buttons, because I'm not going to go out and buy just one big button for one project. I would rather just use my polymer clay, get the exact color that I want, and make it myself. So this was from, as I say, a previous project where I did a few buttons. I had this one, very cute. I really, really like using polymer clay. So then you just hook this loop onto your button, and then there is the headband or the ear warmer. Very nice. This yarn was fantastic for this pattern. I really like the color change. I like the color. I made this one to fit Jessica. I will pop a little picture on the screen of how adorable she looks with this ear warmer. So I really enjoyed this project. I will link this project down below in the description box. So this is my second make towards the cowl that Litsa is doing. I will put the hashtag also down in the description. It's called hashtag Coco's Crochet Cowl 2024. There's quite a few YouTubers and quite a few of you folks joining in on this cowl. It's really a lot of fun. I like seeing everyone's projects pop up on Instagram, and Litsa also shows it on her channel. It's really fun to be part of a crochet along. I love it. I love doing collabs. I love doing cowls, and this one is fun because it's not my usual type of make. So I highly recommend this pattern. It's so soft. This was the absolute most perfect yarn for it. All right, my next thing. Now, I showed you guys in my previous video, I was talking about the hooking up with books that I'm doing with my crochet bestie Caroline, and I started working on my project, which we're only revealing on the 15th of March. So our book club runs over a 2-month period, and I was super excited to share my bunch of hexagons that I'd started with, a very cute project that I'm making. And then reading the comments, one of you lovely folks pointed out that whatever I was showing you only had 5 sides. In other words, not a hexagon, but a pentagon. And I was like, what? I mean, I only needed to count to 6. How difficult could it possibly be to make a tiny thing that has 6 sides? I mean, I can count to 6, you'd think. Clearly not. I could clearly only count to 5. So anyway, I was so grateful for that comment that I thought, okay, first I thought maybe I can try and adjust the pattern. And I thought, no, that's just too much of a schlep. I'll use my pentagons for something else. I mean, I didn't make that many, and it takes so quick. I thought, no, I'm going to start over, do a proper hexagon, make sure that I do it correctly, count my sides, my corners, make sure that it's right. So that evening, I thought, okay, let me just do at least one proper hexagon. And you guys, I don't know if I have a mental block against the number 6, but I made it, and the following morning saw that I'd made not a hexagon, but something with 7 sides. And I was like, what the heck? How difficult can it be for someone to count to 6 to make sure you've got something with 6 sides? So I was actually laughing out loud at myself for not first making something with 5 sides, then making something with 7 sides. And I thought, okay, let me just give myself a day or two to fix my brain to make sure that if I attempt this again, I get something that has 6 sides, which I did manage, you guys, like after a day or two. So I do now have one 6-sided item. But now this is the only actual proper hexagon I've now got for all my efforts so far. But what happened was, in between all of this, we had to arrange a very urgent trip to South Africa. We're leaving on the 7th of February, just for a week. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to pack my hexagon supplies, which is in my little Paris bag. So these are my hexagon supplies. So there's the yellow that I'm using. Oh, well, I only need one light yellow, which is the center of the project. And these ones that you see there, they are for the remaining hexagons. So I thought, let me just give myself a rest for a couple of weeks, pack my little bag, and take my project that's requiring these hexagons with me to South Africa, because I can't do amigurumi while I'm there. You know, there's not going to be enough time. I'm not going to now go and pack stuffing and all of that with me. And I thought, taking my hexagon project with me, now that I'm certain I can actually make something with 6 sides, I'm going to take it with me, and I'm going to do it while I'm there in the evenings, because I can't not crochet. It is impossible for me to not crochet. And I've really been enjoying making 5-sided items. I've obviously enjoyed making a 7-sided item. So I know I'm enjoying making those, which is now hopefully going to be proper hexagons in the end, because I'm still super excited for this project. Anyway, a long story to say that I hopefully have now sorted my head out to be able to count to 6. I'm still super excited for my Hooking Up with Books project. You guys, if you want to join, I'm going to link the intro video for me and Caroline explaining about Hooking Up with Books we are doing, and then there were none. I know a bunch of you are joining us. I'm super excited. It's my favorite Agatha Christie book. All right, what else have I got to show you? It's a bit all over the place today, folks, but I think there's only one more thing. My ice cream bear, or my Sunny, the Sorbet bear pattern, is ready and published on Ravelry. Now I do have one of my lovely yarny friends that's still testing out. She's doing one more version of, well, she's sort of testing the version for me just as an extra. So I'm still waiting actually for feedback from her. But for the most part, I think all of the biggest mistakes have been ironed out. I have gone ahead and posted it to Ravelry now. Not on Etsy. You guys, I'm having endless problems with Etsy, and I've had it. So I've cut my shop ties with Etsy. I've had too much stress. I've had too much problems. I had a near scamming incident in the last week. And that was the last straw. So I actually closed my Etsy shop. I did post this pattern on Etsy. One of you lovely folks actually managed to buy the pattern before my Etsy shop was closed. But it is now on Ravelry. So I've posted it on Ravelry. I will put the links to my Ravelry shop down below. So all of my free patterns have got... So all my free patterns that are available on my blog, I've got them on Ravelry, as well as my 3 paid patterns. This ice cream bear being the latest of my paid patterns. And then what I wanted to show you, because I'm also sort of in the Valentine's vibes, you know, if you see hearts popping up everywhere, you cannot help but join in on the fun. So I made my Sorbet bear in a Valentine's version. So she's just holding a little heart instead of her ice cream. Now this heart is a free pattern from Lilelise. She's got a lot of free patterns on her blog. I will link the pattern down below that I used. And I basically used the same pattern as for my Sorbet bear, but instead of doing the rainbow colors, I just alternated pink and white. So not much difference there. Then for the little skirt, the Sorbet bear, you make this panel to attach these little strands on to create the grassy skirt. So for this Valentine's bear, if you feel in the mood to change her up a bit, I use the same band at the top, leaving 2 front loops. So this little band consists of 3 rounds of single crochet. So in my second row and third row, I just worked into the back loop so that you have the front loop left open. And then first I attached to the bottom front loop just with half double crochets. So I did 3 rounds of half double crochets and just a little shell stitch at the bottom. Then I went ahead and attached to the top front loop this pink yarn and just made little bobble stitches. So I think it was like 5 single crochets in a stitch, and then you skip and then you 5 more. So I just sort of did my own thing there. So it's possible to turn the little skirt, the grassy skirt, into just a regular skirt, just by, instead of attaching the little yarn strands, all you do is you attach your yarn, but you make half doubles or singles, whatever you feel like doing, and you just create your own little skirt. It's so simple to adjust and adapt patterns. And this is what I also wanted to tell you guys. If you ever make any one of my patterns, and you do it differently towards a theme, like if you do an Easter theme and you make that she holds a little chick, or you do the Valentine's theme and she holds a heart, and you adjust the colors, or you make a hat or a bow, or you make this a little boy. As you saw from a previous video, I made a little boy version just by giving him pants instead of a skirt. Please tag me if you post those photos or email it to me. I love seeing it. I love adjusting patterns and adding my own touch to it, and I'm telling you, it gives me such great joy seeing anyone making any of my patterns and adjusting it to their own taste. So as I say, this was a very simple change. Add something else to hold on just to a different version of the skirt, and you have almost a different toy. Look at that, very cute. Anyway, so as I said, my pattern is now on Ravelry, and I hope if any of you guys make it, please tag me, please send me a photo. I love seeing it. All right, friends, that is it for now. It has been a very long video. We're almost on 30 minutes. I probably will try and edit it to make it a bit shorter if I can. Otherwise, thank you for hanging out with me this long. As you know, I always enjoy chatting to all of you, showing my projects, talking about what I like, what I don't like, what I think can be improved, what I think is brilliant and should never be changed. This is why we're here. We all have different tastes. We all have different experiences with different things. So anytime I talk about, for instance, like this book, it's just my experience with a book. Like someone else would not be bothered in the slightest to do a lot of cutting and attaching. For me, it is annoying, but not so much that it would put me off a project. As we can see, I still love how this unicorn turned out, and I still recommend these patterns. So if you've worked out of this book, the Yarn Cake Amigurumi, let me know your experience with it. Let me know if you enjoyed working with it, if you had the same issue, or if you just made the project without worrying about cutting or attaching yarns. I would love to know what you thought. All right, friends, that's it for this week. As always, I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. I hope you're ready for the week ahead. And until I see you in the next video, as always, stay safe and stay crafty.